Welcome to the Sedro Woolley Rotary Club, the greatest Rotary Club in the... And Mr. Rick, have an invocation.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, as we, as Rotarians and the world come into the, well, I guess for us, the holiday season with Thanksgiving, but to remember those to give thanks for those that have, allow them the opportunity to give to those that do not, allow Rotary to do well, to provide thanks for our community, which will help better our community and the world itself. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And Mr. Heisler has the song.
All right, well, we're in November and we're going to start off with a patriotic song. Let's do number 7 on our song sheet. You're a grand old flag. You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true under red, white, and blue, where there's never a boast or bray. Should old acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
Nice.
Thank you.
Do we have any visitors today? Visitors, okay. Do we have a sergeant, a microphone going out, headed over that way?
I think quite a few of you know who I got here with me, my wife, Jan. And tomorrow we'll have 50 years in, so.
Whoa. And Rick, Cheryl had some comments I think she wants to make.
Oh.
Yes.
In the meantime, I'd like to introduce you to my friend Tracy. She is local, but I figured I would bring her to club and introduce her kind of a Rotary. Is it okay if I let her kind of tell her you guys what she does a little bit?
Very good. Welcome, Tracy.
Thank you. My name's Tracy Wisniewski, and I have lived in Skagit for several years, 10 years in Sedro Woolley, and I am a licensed mental health counselor. So I have a private practice called Authentic Vibrancy Company, and my specialty is on ADHD, spectrum, behavioral issues, and of emphasis on children as well. So I just wanted to put that out there that I use a lot of different techniques, behavioral evidence-based techniques, as well as expressive therapies for kids. So anyone is looking for a therapist, I do have some openings.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
How about visiting Rotarians? Sandra.
Yes, I'd like to introduce Rochelle Eason from the Mount Vernon Noon Club. Rochelle's an attorney, but she's also a life coach. And like mental health therapists, I think we all need those, and we all need a life coach. I say that because I have one. Anyways, Rochelle has got an announcement.
Yeah, I'm here to invite you all to our fundraiser event November 18th at the Heritage Flight Museum, and I have invitations. I know our club gifted some tickets, but we would like to have everyone. So please join us and dress up like in your Top Gear gun. So flight suits, whatever, bring your Harley, we don't care.
Very good.
Right.
Thank you, Rochelle.
And Rochelle just happens to be married to one of our newer members, Pat Easton, which we're so thrilled to have as in our club.
There you go. Okay.
So I was going to mention 50 years of wedding, Jan is my aunt, and we kind of grew up a little bit more like she was my older bratty sister. But so 50 years ago tomorrow, I was in this lovely wedding as a candle lighter in the most adorable little red dress you've ever seen. But I'm very glad to say that I love Jan very much. And Steve has been my uncle for 50 years tomorrow, and he is the best.
Very good. Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, thanks, Rick. Okay, some club business, budget, we're still on track. Steve, you can confirm that, right? Okay, he's hiding his eyes, so maybe not. We'll find out next Tuesday, but I think we are. Rich is still working on the pickleball court. Rich, did you want to say a few words or just kind of want to wait and see what happens over the next week or so? Let's wait. Okay, so Rich is working that pretty good. November 18th, like I said, we've got some tickets from the Mount Vernon Rotary, so their auction. The District Governor Raj is going to be here January 26th. Anacortes Centennial Celebration, February 23rd, and I think that's about it. Is there any other club business out there on the floor?
Yeah.
Rick.
We all know that the Christmas party is coming up. It will be Saturday, December 10th, right here at the community center. We've opted not to do the expense of mailing out the invitations. Daryl is going to email them. We'll have some invite things on the table here, but you'll be getting emails periodically throughout the month of November and early December as reminders and that, but there'll be notices that you can put on your refrigerator from up here. So.
Okay, December 10th.
December 10th, Saturday.
Got it. All right, any other club business? All right, I think we have a raffle, Sue. You're up.
Sorry, Keith, it's 70. Keith wanted number 70 and we talked him into 71 because that was the year he graduated from high school. So number 70. Number 45. Hey, Ruth.
Hey, Ruth.
Keith, rub salt in your wound. Number 72. Guys or gals, winner chooses which group will pay. $2.
A lot of women today. Let's have
Attaboy. Ladies, pay $2.
There you go.
We're
Okay,
just gonna do 3.
that's good. Let's go right into the Sergeant of Arms. Rick.
Yeah. I read my email from Daryl at 9:30 this morning. He says, oh, by the way, can you do Sergeant at Arms today too? So it won't be much. November birthdays and anniversaries, $2 for birthdays, $3 for anniversaries. What? Yeah, Sue's gonna collect. What else was I gonna do? If you didn't sign in, $2. If you're not wearing a badge, you're lucky, Doug. Yeah, it's all on the honor system. Since the holiday is coming and we got to pay for some extra things, how about everybody just do $2 in general, just to kind of, since I'm lacking on my information and things with that. So everybody do $2 and then we'll go into happy bucks.
I've got a happy 5. My grandson Owen has been in the hospital the last few days, and he got out today.
Hey,
There,
good deal.
good.
Anybody else happy bucks? Okay, Chris.
I actually got a happy 20, and part of that is for Owen. I'm moving. Movers come on Monday. I'm no longer going to be Steve Huggins' neighbor. Sorry, Steve.
I just have a happy 10 to thank you all for welcoming me today and to again invite you to our auction on November 18th.
Very good.
I was a little happier before all the fines, but that's $4 just because I'm happy.
I'll pitch in a couple. I don't know if it's happy or not, but I'm glad to see the snow coming. And also some happy bucks on behalf of my wife. The swans are back in the valley. I saw about 150 of them in a field along Cook Road as I was coming in. So they're here.
I got a couple of happy bucks over the weekend. Speaking of pickleball, Joanne and I went over and watched our daughter-in-law, Amy, play in the tournament they had over at the Blackburn Pavilion at Skagit Valley College. And one happy buck is for, and that's Amy. That's her partner, Grant. They took silver in the medal round in the doubles. And then Amy partnered up with another lady in the doubles medal round and took a second silver. So if anybody wants to play pickleball, try Amy.
She's too good. Keith.
Given a happy 5. Last Saturday, a number of us renegades enjoyed our Scotch tasting event that Tim Lair and Brock Stiles put into the, the auction last year. It was Saturday night. The weather was gorgeous. It just stopped raining the day before, and the day after it was raining, but it was just absolutely beautiful looking out over Skagit Bay in the LaConner area. And Chuck was one of the beneficiaries of a good night. We had John. We had, the Johnson family, Eric, and his dad, Eric Sr. Did I miss anybody? Just absolutely a great opportunity. And Tim's father, Marty, and mom, Shelley, Marty gave us a history lesson of where the Scotch, the different regions of Scotland, and Shelley did a bang-up job on the heavy appetizers. So if you have an opportunity to bid next year, you won't be disappointed. But you're going to have to outbid us. Anyway, had a great time. Thank you.
Nice. There you go. Okay. Well, thank you. That brings us to the program, and we have Dr. Miriam Mickelson today, our superintendent of the Sedro Woolley School District, and she is one of our members, which is pretty special. And she's going to give us a State of the District speech today. So, Miriam, come on up. It's all you. Welcome, Miriam.
Thank you, Phil. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay. It's very difficult when you are short and you cannot get this right. I'll just hold it. How about that? Okay. Summer of 2012, it was my very first year as principal of the Edmonds Woodway High School in the Edmonds School District. And I fielded a phone call from the district office. They sounded a bit panicked. They said, Miriam, really hate to do this to you, but you have a lot of upset parents and students right now. And word on the street is that they are going to stage a protest on the first day of school. We have to do something about it. So the issue, as it turned out, they were persuaded that as a brand new principal, my very first order of business was to ban yoga pants and flip-flops. I don't know where they got the idea. I certainly had no intentions of going against the yoga industry, hurting their revenue. I had no plans to deprive our students of the fashionable comfort of flip-flops as they were learning calculus, but there it was. As a brand new superintendent last year, there were moments when I longed for the good old days of the yoga pants and flip-flops controversy. It was a very challenging year last year. In fact, when I spoke here in September, nobody warned me that as a community, we would deal with flooding, that we would deal with a snowstorm, that we would lose a very beloved member of our community, that it would be almost impossible to pass a replacement levy in this political climate. But thanks to the support of the school board, a very outstanding school board, and the support of this community, I survived last year, my very first year as a superintendent, perhaps the worst year ever to start your career as a superintendent. And so I am back to give you a most riveting presentation on the state of the district. So thank you so much. So for my presentation today, okay, point over here. I am going to talk about 4 major topics in the interest of time: enrollment, celebrations, challenges, and our 3-year priorities as a district. But first, our mission and vision in the Sedro Woolley School District is to ensure that all of our students are prepared for their future. Our mission and vision is to equip all students with the knowledge and skills needed for future learning and success. From preschool to high school. In the case of Emily here, she started at Clear Lake Elementary and she graduated from Sedro Woolley High School in June, and she is now attending the Culinary Institute of Education at the very heart of New York City, and she is thriving there because of the education that she received in the Sedro Woolley School District. We're very proud of her. This mission and vision continues to ground the work that we do in the district this year. Enrollment, I am pleased to report that we are trending in the right direction when it comes to enrollment. Pre-COVID, 2019, 2020, we had almost 4,400 student FTE. So FTE, that's the full-time equivalent. So students who bring revenue to the district. So almost 4,399 pre-pandemic. The biggest, we endured a very massive hit to enrollment in 2020, 2021. We had only about 4,000 students, but this year, 4,310. So like I said, we are trending in the right direction when it comes to enrollment. We have 106 more students this year than last year. So very, very pleased with that. Some celebrations. This is a short list. We have a very long list of celebrations, especially because in our district, we try to practice gratitude. And so we look for the positives in the work that we do. In the interest of time, I'm sharing with you just a few major celebrations. I mentioned the levy earlier. This definitely is a major celebration for us in the district and in the community. Thank you to all of you for supporting the levy, which we passed in February. Arts and music are back in our elementary schools. And this was last year loud and clear. The community expressed in focus conversations and surveys and a thought exchange that they would like to see arts and music back in elementary schools, and we are able to make it happen. I am also massively relieved that we ended the school year, the fiscal year last year, with a balanced budget. And according to the paper, I think We are, I could be wrong, but I think that we are the only school district in the region or in the area with a balanced budget. Our policy and procedure requires us to have an ending fund balance between 4 to 6% of our district's operating budget, and we were able to meet that goal. So definitely a celebration. I'm also very excited that we're able to continue providing free meals to our students this year because our food services department, they are very diligent in seeking grants. And so we're able, some grant funding, and so we're able to provide free meals, and not just any meal, healthy, fresh meals, because again, because of grant funding, we're able to provide healthy, nutritious, delicious meals to our students using locally grown products and ingredients. Enrichment opportunities, we continue to have a robust menu of enrichment opportunities from extracurricular to athletics. Louis, I am so excited to share that we are going to the playoffs. We will not know in football, we will not know who we will play or when or where exactly until Sunday, but go Cubs. We were able to last year send students to Camp Arkyla after a two-year hiatus because of the pandemic. And so that was definitely exciting. It is a tradition in Sedro Woolley. And so we sent students to Camp Arkyla last year. We will send them again this year. And speaking of Camp Arkyla, oh, this is fresh farm to school grant. I mentioned earlier the fresh and healthy meals that we provide our students, but this is a picture. I went to Camp Arkyla in the springtime, and it was such a wonderful experience. The only quibble that I had was our public information officer, Ruth Richardson, said that all superintendents get on the giant swing when they go to Camp Arkyla. So of course I did, only to find out later that Phil did not get on the giant swing. Nor Mark. I had a wonderful time though, because I got paired with very sweet Natalie here. So I forgave Ruth the deception, but it was really wonderful. So we're going to send our students again to Camp Arkyla. CTE, our CTE program, it is a flagship for us in the district, and it will continue to be a focus for us. We have a new CTE director this year. She has ties in the community. She has extensive experience in the CTE world, Corey Gudgeon. So I'm very excited to see where she will take our CTE program. And speaking of CTE, our FFA team went to nationals last week, and they did phenomenally well. Team Landscape Nursery placed 5th overall in the country. 5th in the country. That's such an amazing feat. And Sophie Johnson, a junior at Sedro Woolley High School, she placed 6th overall in the entire country. So a major celebration there as well. And capital projects. Here's a list of all of the capital projects that we completed starting this summer. Lyman siding and painting. We did quite a bit of work at State Street High School, replacing HVAC, painting the school, replacing the ramp. At Evergreen Elementary, we have a new floor there. Also, we worked on Evergreen siding and HVAC replacement. At Sedro Woolley High School, we did some building repairs to the C building, boiler replacement. Cascade Middle School, technology building was resealed. At Big Lake Elementary, we did some work with the flooring there in the B building, and at Clear Lake, chimney and boiler exhaust repairs. And this is a picture of Lyman Elementary looking like a brand new school with the new siding and the new paint. And this is a sign that our CTE department printed for us. And so we hang these banners all across the district, thanking our voters for their support. And we are doing our very best as a district to ensure that we are being good stewards of taxpayers' money and their trust as well. Well, in education, we work with human beings. We don't work with machines that we can just program, and we work with human beings who are young and developing. And so it is not easy work. It is rife with challenges. I will name just a few. Budget and stability continues to be a challenge for us in public education. We are not adequately funded by the state. And although I did mention that our enrollment is trending in the right direction, it's still, enrollment is still not where we would like it to be in terms of revenue that enrollment generates for us. And ESSER money, that's federal funding connected to COVID, that is going away after this year. So we will continue to be very mindful of our finances and continue to work very hard to have a balanced budget at the end of this year. Safety is also a paramount concern. So from an educational perspective, it is very helpful if we have enough students, especially given the number of staffing that we have, because every student generates revenue for us. So if we are staffed at 780, for example, you want your student enrollment to be enough so that you can we can pay for the salary of our staff, which is about 85% of our budget. So from an educational perspective and just from a financial perspective, it is very helpful to have enough students enrolled with us. Space can be an issue, however. Well, we can lay people off, but it's not very easy. There is a process, and anytime you let go of somebody, you're talking about people's livelihood, people's families impacted. So it's definitely not something that we look forward to as educational leaders. So it is a challenge, as you can see. Safety also is a paramount concern for us as a district. This year, we have a district safety consultant, David Core of When It Counts, and he is working with us reviewing our emergency operations plan. The last that it was revised was in 2016. So we're revising and updating that. And he last week, along with one of our principals who oversees district safety, he did walkthroughs of our buildings to surface and uncover areas of concern safety-wise. We are very fortunate in our district that we have security solutions. We have a buzz-in system, so not anybody can just walk into our building. So part of his walkthrough last week was to make sure that the system continues to work as intended. Sub shortage also is a challenge. It has been a challenge for us since the pandemic. It's marginally better this year, but we still have a sub shortage. We do not have enough bus drivers. We do not have enough bus driver substitutes. And so our transportation department dispatch team, they're out there driving when needed. Our maintenance crew, they're also out there driving. So if you see some of our grounds people, they're also driving. So they're working very, very hard because we cannot find enough bus drivers to work for us. And I think that that is actually reflective of the issue that we face right now in society. We do not have enough paraeducators. We don't have enough para substitutes or teacher substitutes. So on any given day, if you visit one of our schools, it is not uncommon for our building principals to be subbing in buildings. One of our board members, Danny Russell, is subbing for us, and we are truly grateful for that. My cabinet and myself included, we are out there in classrooms as well, subbing as needed. So far this year, I've subbed for a kindergarten teacher and a first grade teacher. And I was a high school teacher before I became a district leader. So it was definitely very challenging and a great learning experience. We are actually looking at what the state requires of substitute paras and teacher paras. And so we are in the process of putting together communication to share with people what the requirements are. To be a substitute teacher, you don't really need a degree. You don't need a 4-year degree to be a substitute teacher, according to the state. But, is that something that we want as a district? Because we certainly want to put the most qualified people in front of our students. So the threshold from the state is not as high as we would like it to be. It helps when there is a shortage, but we are looking into that. And Ruth is actually putting something together right now, some more information on that. But yes, if you can share word with families and friends, that would be fantastic. The reward, a life of purpose and working with kids. Louis.
Do you entertain volunteer substitutes if they qualify?
Volunteer substitutes, they are all paid. So if you work as a substitute para or substitute teacher, you get paid. You don't volunteer your time. We do have roving subs, though. We call them roving subs. They're paid at a slightly higher rate than the regular sub, and we place them every day. They have to work every day. They cannot decline a job and say, well, I'm just not going to work today. But yes, sub shortage is certainly a challenge for us. Social emotional learning, this has it's always been something that we pay attention to as educators, but it's magnified because of the collective trauma that we all experience due to the pandemic. And so we're not just talking about social emotional learning needs of students, we also have to attend to the social emotional needs of our staff. So that continues to be a challenge. Some of our students are not very ready social emotionally to do some learning, engage in some learning some days because of trauma that they have experienced, compounded by the pandemic's trauma. And then reorganization also is a challenge for us this year to try to balance the budget. Last year, we had to cut some major programs that were no longer financially viable. Perhaps they were at the time of inception, but they ceased to be. So for example, we did cut Connections Academy, which was a long-running partnership that we had with Cascades Job Corps, just because it was not a financially viable option for us anymore. And so we saved almost $1 million with that. So that was good in one sense, but on the other hand, it also created some reorganization. We had to put people in places they've not been for a while. And so this, the learning curve is steep, and the transition, we are feeling that this year, but the ship is not sinking. So we will take that as a win. Our 3-year priorities in the district, it's always been the focus in our district, but we're trying to be even more intentional this year to really attend to the core mission of public education. So in the Sedro Woolley School District, we focus on the whole child. So we focus on our students' academic skills. We focus on their behaviors as well. We want to teach our students pro-social behavior so that when they leave our schools, they can be contributing members of society as well-adjusted adults able to work with, communicate with others. We also attend to their social emotional learning, because if we don't, it becomes very difficult for them to access academic content. And we want our students learning in a safe, welcoming, inclusive environment. I mentioned earlier that school safety is a top paramount concern for us, always has been, and always will be. The work of educating our students is critical, but it is massively complex and complicated. We cannot do it on our own. And so we are even more intentional this year to engage with our families and the community so that they can partner with us in our community engagement efforts. And Ruth is doing a phenomenal job. She is instrumental in getting in our outreach efforts. with the community and the family. You may have heard of Reading Under the Lights. This was in August. It was our first annual Reading Under the Lights. We want to make this a yearly event. We had members of the community and organizations and businesses, local churches partner with us. Inspired Church donated over 400 backpacks. And so it was just fabulous to see our students pick up backpacks. And thanks to Rotary, we also were able to give our students who attended Reading Under the Lights free books so that they could continue with literacy even in the summertime and be ready for the new school year. Royal Cub Card is also a community engagement effort. This is a special outreach effort program aimed at community members age 60 or over. They get their Royal Cub Card, which is free to them, and they're able to attend home events, athletic events, extracurricular activities at home for free, and it's very well received. Terry Swenson was my very happy and grateful and appreciative model there. And in our schools, they're also ramping up efforts to bring back volunteers and family members. We were not able to do as much the past 2.5 years because of COVID, obviously, but we're very happy to welcome families and community members volunteering in our schools. At Samish Elementary, we are instituting for the very first time this year the Watchdogs program, Dads of Great Students. We have 25 dads coming in to sign up and be a watchdog for the day, depending on their schedule. So this is Larry, that's the principal's dad, Laura Schmidt. It's a family affair there in education, really. And this in the middle picture, that's one of our board members, Brent Schiefelbein, with his kids attending Samish Elementary. And that's, okay, I have to remember, he told me how to say his name yesterday, Person Henriquez, the husband of Christina Henriquez, who teaches at Samish Elementary. Speaking of Samish, I will end with this little anecdote. I was there 3 weeks ago to visit our kindergarten students in the Strive program. So our Strive program is new at Samish. It is a program that meets the needs of our students with autism. They have a kindergarten class. I wanted to say hi to our staff, see how it's going. So I was there one afternoon, and it was such a humbling and heartwarming experience for me to see. The needs of the students in that program were varied and challenging, and yet our staff members there interacted with the students with such patience, with so much love and care, that I was just really blown away by their commitment and dedication to their students. One of the students on their way to PE did not have his shoes on, and given how the student was, how his afternoon was going, the team strategized and decided that it would not be worth it to have the student put on his shoes, and they would just carry him to the gym. And it was such a short walk anyway. I was there. I wanted to be helpful instead of just standing in the sideline marveling at the competence and dedication of the team. So I offered to carry the kindergartner to the gym. I did not give them a chance to say no. In hindsight, that probably was not a very good idea, because even kindergartners are bigger than me. But I was too embarrassed to say, ouch, I think that my back is going to hurt. And I started it. So on the way back to the classroom, I picked up the student, carried him, and that would have been fine, except the student fell asleep. And so he was asleep in my arms for about 45 minutes. And I learned that some of our students with autism actually battle insomnia. And so it was not a surprise that the student fell asleep. He was sound asleep, except very, very smart. When I tried to sit down, he would squirm and threaten to wake up. And I did not want him to wake up. And so he was asleep very soundly. When it was time for the parents to come and pick him up, I carried him to the main office, and there was Dad waiting for him. And the look of expectation on his face as he asked, "Did you do okay?" It almost broke my heart. as a parent, as a mom, as an educator. The way he asked the question, it sounded as though he was desperate to hear even just a sliver of good news. And so I said, "You did okay. You did okay." Looking back, I should have said more, but I was too tired to say a lot more than that. But I reflected on that brief interaction, and I was overcome with gratitude and appreciation for educators. We do not choose who we educate. We do not choose who we admit into our schools. They come to us, they are in our schools, they are our kids. We love them, we care for them, we teach them, regardless of their families' values and beliefs and political affiliation, regardless of their language, their culture, regardless of their families' traditions. They come to us, they are our kids. Regardless of the national dialogue or lack thereof, regardless of the political climate nationally and Sedro Woolley School District, we focus on our local community and we focus on our kids. And so on behalf of the school board, I would like to thank Rotary for supporting the critical mission of educators. Thank you very much. And now I open it up to questions. Hi, Keith.
One of your priorities, actually a couple of the priorities, were the behavior and social and emotional learning. Pre-pandemic, well, actually, coming from a family where my wife taught in the Sedro Woolley School District and retired with 31 years, she was a disciplinarian. She had a high level of discipline and respect in her classroom. That was pre-pandemic. Post-pandemic, it appears that all hell's broke loose because you can't discipline kids because you might offend them. They didn't have any discipline for 2 years at home, most of them. Parents were working, so most of them, a lot of them were by themselves. You don't want to offend them. You can't, there does not appear to be any dress code. Girls can wear shirts as short as they want, as you can come looking like a slob. You know, whatever the case, there is no, what I'm hearing is there's no dress code. So when you have a priority, behavior and social and emotional learning, if these kids are going to get taught anything, they need to be taught at an early level. Confucius proved that. Give me the first 3 years of a child's life and I'll have control forever, okay? And if they don't learn and build as they go through grade school, middle school, high school, they're going to be in the real world and they have to have some sense of dress code. They have to have some sense of discipline or they're just going to be losers. So could you address that, please?
Thank you for that question, Keith. You brought me back to my days as a high school principal when you mentioned dress code. It was actually an issue back then. Dress code has always been something that we expect as educators of our students. I remember a conversation I had with a student. I said, I think you forgot your pants. You just have, it was just, there was nothing in there. It's just long shirt. So yeah, that is, that can be an issue. But when it comes to behavior, however, and social emotional learning, there is a balance between holding our students accountable and also recognizing and acknowledging that they are developing, that there are skills that they need to learn. We cannot be too punitive. So it is a balance, but it is certainly something that we expect of our students. We expect them to be respectful. We expect them to be kind. We expect them to engage in the classroom productively. We expect them to come to school looking like they are ready to learn, as ready to learn as can be. So it's not wild west out there, but there are laws that we have to adhere to when it comes to student discipline, and the laws have changed since I was the principal to now. There are things that maybe we were able to do in the past, we're not really able to do, but it really is all about helping our students learn the pro-social behaviors that they need to learn so that they can be successful in the classroom and so they can thrive. So maybe a little bit different methodology this time around, but same goal.
So it doesn't appear it'll be pre-pandemic discipline then.
There are some changes. So for example, there are some laws with regards to how you can exclude student because of discipline. That has changed. When I was a principal, you could exclude students according to certain sets of circumstances, and without going into too much detail, some of those circumstances are no longer, we no longer can consider. Other questions? Yes.
I just appreciate the dynamic nature of the hot seat that you're in. Keep your chin up. You're doing fine.
Thank you.
We have time, just one more question. One of the celebrations was arts and music in the elementary schools. I've got two grandsons in the Sedro Woolley Elementary School, and the music that they're involved in is prior to school starting. Is that part of your arts and music in the elementary schools, or are they building music when they are in their normal classroom setting and art? Because my understanding is they're sticking basically to the basic reading, writing, and arithmetic, and there's very little involvement in the arts and the music.
Arts and music in elementary schools during the school day for this year. It's not quite to the level that we would like it to be because, again, of state underfunding, but we have music teachers, music/art teachers during the day in all of our elementary schools this year.
I guess I'll have to check into that then with my daughter-in-law. So I'm not hearing that at all.
It's not every day, but there is that.
Miriam, I'm not exactly sure how to phrase the question, but maybe you can address the more accepted our LGBTQ community is among our children, even into the elementary school age these years. Nowadays, I'm just wondering if you can address a little bit of that and how the school district is their approach moving forward.
Are you speaking about gender diversity?
Yeah, I mean the full spectrum. I mean, my child is non-binary, trans, and Evergreen has been one of the most amazing schools in this town to adhere to their needs, and I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody in here that's worked with my child. They're not easy sometimes. But I know that, it is an ongoing issue, hearing from fellow parents and other administrators and so on and so forth. So it's something that you never really hear in the conversations. And I guess I should come to more board meetings and hear for myself what's going on.
Yeah, certainly. In fact, if you have any specific concerns, I would encourage you to reach out to your principal. I see. Yeah, it is. And for us in the district, I mentioned earlier, providing learning spaces for our students that are safe, welcoming, and inclusive. So when we talk about diversity, whether that's diversity socioeconomically, neurodiversity, students with different learning needs, cultural, ethnic diversity, that is something that we embrace and work towards. We want every single student who comes to our doors to feel welcome and accepted. Like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter what your family's background is or, you know, what your circumstances are. If you come to our schools, we welcome you, we love you, we teach you. And so there are some professional development that we engage in to make sure that we're making that happen and that we are being very supportive. And as I mentioned earlier, we encourage our families really to connect with us so we can continue to partner together in making sure that all of our students are being safe and successful in our schools.
I have a concern that I'd like to have you answer, and then I have a comment after you make your answer. But this morning in the news, there's an alarming statistic that said that every single day there are 300 people that die from fentanyl. What kind of a program do you have at the school level to warn students or continually express concern over that? I know that there must be some kind of a program you have.
Mm-hmm. That is a major issue. We are RISE Coalition, they are focused on that. We have a family university happening tonight, I believe it's at 7 o'clock, and where we educate our parents how to talk to your students about drugs and alcohol, because it is unfortunately an issue. And we partner with Sedro Woolley Police so we can continue to promote healthy habits within our students, or among our students, but it is a challenge, Louis, for sure.
Yeah, well, the comment I'd like to make is a compliment. And when I first went into business some 50 years ago here in Sedro Woolley, there was a problem with the respect that Sedro Woolley School District received from the rest of the communities. You know, it was like, don't go to Sedro Woolley because the school system isn't very good. You know, go to Mount Vernon or Burlington. Well, I have to say that, you know, through a series of superintendents and other people working under them, from Mike Casey, Mark Vinn, Phil, and now you, I have to compliment the fact that over the last 20 years or so, I've come to realize that Sedro Woolley is now the premier school district in the Valley. And that's a thank you to you guys.
Here, here. Yeah, I completely agree. When I applied for this position and I was doing my research, the reputation of this district definitely precedes itself. And I am standing on the shoulders of giants, figuratively speaking, Phil and Mark and Mike. So I feel very privileged and blessed to have the opportunity to serve the district. And it is truly an outstanding district. I think that's it.
And so how's the district doing compared to nationally, and how are you going to overcome that challenge?
Academically speaking, I didn't get that part. Yeah, that will continue to be a push for us, balancing, as I mentioned earlier, attending to our students' social emotional needs so that they are in an emotional and mental space to access the academic content. There are things that we are doing as a district to address academics. So we have what we call universal design for learning. That's an instructional strategy that aims to meet the different needs of our students. We have a framework called CI3T, not to be too educationalese, but the point of it is there are things that we are doing very intentionally to improve academics while still recognizing that, as I mentioned earlier, we're dealing with human beings and they come to us with familial, personal stressors that can be barriers to them in terms of learning. But we have wonderful, remarkable educators who know how to navigate that landscape.
Very well done. It's not easy being a superintendent. You're doing an excellent job. Here's a pin for you to sign all those VIP documents coming across your desk from the greatest Rotary Club in the universe. So one more time for Miriam, please. Tracy, thanks for visiting. Steve and Jan, happy 50. It's awesome, something that we all aspire to. Rochelle, you still here? Okay, November 18th, Mount Vernon Rotary. I think we've got that down. Team November, thank you. Nice job for the first Thursday. You're living up to the standard. Next week, our program will be, I think it's our mayor. Is that correct? Yeah, Julia. She'll be here next week, so we'll all be looking forward to that. And with that said, if there's no other business from the floor, club business, I will close the meeting for the greatest Rotary Club in the